We're live. Are we live now?
I don't know, Pencil. You tell me.
I don't know. Also, you have to... Oh, you already did. You're awesome.
Yeah, I already did it this time.
5, 4...
It's not. It's not.
Okay, I'll wait.
You know what you need?
Try
You
it.
remember
There it
those,
goes! It's live!
You remember those 90s TV shows where they'd have the school announcement, you'd hear the xylophone with the, the 3-note dings? That's what you need for these things.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Hello and welcome to the Barcast, where if you say really in just the right way, you completely change the meaning of a sentence. We have your bartenders for this evening, a non-pencil.
Please shove things up your penis so it stops working.
Enigmatic Otaku.
Aha, it's still working.
Chat Penguin Lips.
Damn it, Priest.
Milk.
Hello.
And Ravage.
It has been a very long time.
Today we have a really special guest. We have one of the story approvers and higher ups of film fiction. We have Spacecowboy with us from his car at his job.
Yep, you can hear every piece of shit creaking around in this crappy vehicle. How's it going?
For those who are tuning in for the first time, welcome. We are a user-submitted podcast where people suggest the users, and then we ask them questions and make them miserable. I think right now...
Moment, folks.
And we're...
Told you
Hey! Why don't I describe what a bad question is in the chat, Priest?
Yeah, go ahead.
Well, I will ask questions from the chat to our users. You can also submit questions in the Barcast group. When you are submitting questions, keep in mind I'm not going to ask questions about politics or, having sex with anything. But I'll ask a lot of other things, so feel free to just go nuts. Priest?
So, we'll have to space you back.
Priest.
Yep, I'm back, y'all.
Priest.
Awesome. Well, now that we're back from Security Guard ASMR, we have a few interview questions from you. First of all, who are you? What do you do for the fandom?
Hey, get delayed again.
Oh, the drinking word, Priest. What's the
The
drinking
drinking word for today is y'all. So every time you hear the word y'all, please drink. Please drink.
We should change it to every time we hear background noise from him, we should drink.
Then we just down a whole fifth, like the entire podcast.
Y'all don't hate yourselves enough for that.
Jeez, this is what I do. It's Friday. Let's do it.
I know who it is you're talking about, and we'll pass it along.
Add it to the drinking word list. No, every time. Every time.
Of course, it's been quiet the last 5 hours, and everything has to start the moment Barcast goes live. Go figure.
Just to say, if we need to reschedule Spacecowboy, we definitely can.
It's usually dead. Let's keep going.
Okay. Introduce yourself then. Who are you and what do you do for the fandom?
I go by the handle name Spacecowboy. As for what I do for the fandom, first I started reading. Then I got the dumb idea to do some writing. And then I got the even dumber idea to hop on board when Eldorado back in 2014 said, hey, you should totally come be a story approval for us. And since then, I've waded through the filth and excrement that the worst of the site can put forth. And every now and then I find a few gems. So there you go.
Awesome. So next question, how did you get into the fandom?
Add it.
Reading. To keep it simple.
Really? You didn't get in through watching the show first?
Nope. I was reading. And I had a phase where I kind of ran out of space for books as a teenager. So I'm like, well, there's this thing called the internet. Let's give it a try. Found out real quick how god awful that could be, as I'm sure some of y'all are aware. And it was through, not fan fiction, believe it or not. Thank God for that. It was through, I don't even remember which site, but I found someone who started posting some My Little Pony stuff, go figure. And that led me to fanfiction.net, where you've seen me ever since.
Of course. So what would you say is your favorite part of the fandom? The online community, the fanfics, cons, music? Obviously you read a lot, but what's your take on it?
My favorite part. Well, here's something that should be interesting for you. As far as media goes, I really have not watched much of the show.
Yeah.
Surprise. Mostly it is the interesting stories and takes on you can still say it's a relatively bare bones world that's presented in My Little Pony. And it is what people have taken with that rough structure, written and refined upon. Still quite a lot of questionable stuff I've read, but I think the creativity and passion that goes into some of the fan fictions are what stands out to me.
Awesome.
And then you have things like Volcon that are just like, okay then, and other crazy stuff. I'm just saying.
Yeah.
You know, I like the idea that over the radio you left it on and your coworkers can hear you speaking right now.
Yeah, not so lucky there. I'm definitely by myself. I have to intentionally contact others. But I'm sure y'all will, hopefully you won't get too much, but you'll hear the bump and crunch of the car, unfortunately. It's kind of crap.
Right, of course.
It'd make for fun conversation, though, if they did. I'm just saying.
So, we do know that you're a higher up of FemFic, and there's going to definitely be some questions about that, like some of the crazy things that you've seen. And then you even said that you had some questions for us, and so we're curious about that. But let's get through these next two questions first, and then we'll jump into those. So, first of all, if there's one thing you could say to your followers, fans, or haters, what would you say?
Quit asking me for updates, goddammit. They'll come whenever they come, at some point. Nah, really, that right there is more for reference to the fact that, everyone tries out writing at some point or another. I got stupid lucky because I had, a lot of people that somehow liked my stuff. And then I associated my writing with school, and it really hasn't been the same since in terms of updates and such. I think it's an interesting mix of people that have expressed their opinions in many ways, although I will admit I am a fan of those who have expressed strong dislike for me, whether it was my writing, my comments, or my decisions as a story approver. There are some interesting PMs that I forgot to dug off, unfortunately, about that. But just thanks. You're all out of your goddamn mind finding it good. And yeah. No real into that, just open-ended. Why not?
Sweet. Then last but not least, let's see how many people you can upset here.
All right.
Who is best pony?
Oh, I see what you mean by it. Best pony. At one point in time, I might have answered Twilight. At one point. And then the show butchered her. Just a bit. Luna, perhaps. Starlight was a bunch of wasted potential. She could have been a phenomenal villain. I'm gonna have to go with Sunset Shimmer.
Really? Well, I suppose I haven't ruined her just yet.
I'm guessing you want a why. I can give you a why if you'd like.
Only if you want. We can always move on because there are all sorts of user-submitted questions that we've got. And then, of course, I believe there was a special request to ask you if you have any memorable moments on film fiction.
Okay, well, I think we've got some time for me to go into why I believe Sunset Shimmer's best, so I will, just because I can.
Go for it.
As a character, she is arguably, I'd say, one of the most developed characters that hasn't been ruined. She's shown both sides of the spectrum. And what can I say? I'm a sucker for those who fall prey to their personal problems, decide to rule a school in another dimension, and turn into an evil demon. I'm just saying.
So you have a hard-on for women with power.
I see. That's what you take from it all. No, I honestly think
It's usually what he
her
takes from it,
character
trust me.
and story, her official character and story anyway thus far, is actually one of the most interesting things that you can somewhat relate to reality while keeping it within a fiction story.
Fair. That's obviously all parts of a character that are really cool to write. But let's see. So you mentioned before we started that you had a question for Enigma that you wanted to wait until we were live for. Do you want to wait on that? Do you want to go into the user submitted questions? This is kind of your interview here, Spacecowboy. How do you want to proceed?
Let's just say I want to wait until I've said that drinking word a few more times before I start asking those questions.
Fair,
They,
fair.
they're
Fair.
directly to Enigma's area specialty, and I'll just leave it at that.
Fair, fair. So, let's jump into some user-submitted questions. We're going to start with some ones from Lieutenant Major Dude, who says, "Not gonna lie, Mr. Spacecowboy, I don't watch Cowboy Bebop. One of the few things I know about it is that the main character is named Spike." So then he had a little picture of Spike the Dragon. Speaking of which, what do you think of Spike on Cowboy Bebop in My Little Pony?
In My Little Pony, he summed up in one word: doormat.
Hey, someone else who hates Spike. Woo!
I'm just saying. He often gets neglected. He's only used when, it's a TV show. He's only used when it's relevant and gets shoved aside quite often otherwise. And because he's with Twilight, it happens a lot, which then has translated into the stories. Oftentimes, Spike gets ignored. He's a doormat. He's used only when it's required, etc. It's kind of boring. I think he's one of the characters that's been shafted the most. Would love to see more people actually use him in a capacity that isn't him in a high school with a bunch of women trying to screw him. I'm just saying.
Do you think that Spike is listed as property under Twilight Sparkle?
There is probably a long debate to be had between a property, servant or slave, and younger brother. Because let's face it, sibling and servant sometimes go hand in hand depending on the family.
Depending on the family, but we'd like to think that in My Little Pony land, we don't have those kinds of families. Well, we have the Apple family. Okay, never mind. Moving on.
Cows are second-class citizens.
I was going to say, as for the Cowboy Bebop, first of all, I need to go back and reply to him. So he sees it, he needs to watch the goddamn anime, because it is a phenomenal piece of work. One of a handful from 80s, 90s that are really good and worth watching. And his character's a badass. It's kind of, I've been going by, my handle is obviously inspired by it. And I've been using it for 13 or 14 years now, I think, and have never changed, besides having to add or drop the numbers. So,
Right.
Yeah, next question you got?
Awesome. Next question here is, it seems that Mr. Spacecowboy is a story approver. What is the worst story that you've had to approve?
Well, that can be taken one of two ways. Are we talking about okay, it met the standards and it's going up even though we don't want it to? Or is it, dear Mother of God, holy fire, kill it now, this thing's never seen the day of light?
I think they want to hear both.
Okay, so as far as stuff that goes up on the site that we may not like, but it technically meets the standards, let's see, there's probably a couple. I find a few subjects distasteful. Scat, diapers,
Mm-hmm.
water sports, it's just like not my thing. I don't see how it could be anybody's thing, but we've had it written, we've had it put into queue, and we've had to approve it because while the queue's there for more of a quality check type deal, they meet the standards, we're not going to repress. So those have been some of the terrible ones. There have also been some questionable ones of mature content where there's literally a disclaimer. Characters are 18. You're not quite sure when you read it, and you have to read it closely with those, unfortunately. And the writing's terrible, the grammar's garbage, but technically it meets the standards because of the disclaimer and it's somewhat readable after the third fail or so anyway. And those are kind of I suppose we should get to the burn it with holy fire and incinerate it from existence.
Yes.
There is the lovely wall of text. It doesn't even matter what's being written. We've had walls of text before in the past where it is usually those are only 1,000 words or so because let's face it, that's all those people who don't understand how to format shit goes. They usually just try to hit the minimum to post something. We're not fan fiction, fem fiction. We did have one story that was, I think, 20,000 words long that had no formatting, though. That was god-awful. There's always the fun. It happens every 3 to 6 months. Someone makes a novelty account, and of course, we really don't restrict the, I guess you could call it free speech aspect. If you want to make the username with questionable content in it, okay, I don't know why you would, but you're allowed to. But we usually get some aspect of somebody trying to do the Columbine school shooting way back when and ponifying it or making a pony story along those same lines. And those ones get shut down.
Okay.
Yeah.
I see what you're saying. Because I was sitting here like Flutter Priest. I'm like, oh god, did I open a can of worms with the whole religion thing? But now I see what you're saying. No, I figured I would leave certain other stories along the similar concepts that we just shoot down out of principle. We said we really don't, what's the word for it?
Discriminate?
Not so much discriminate, but we really don't repress anything. So if it meets the standards, it'll go up. But there are a few things, such as that, for example. And yes, there have been religious and political things that we've caught that were just like, no, this isn't going to happen.
Of course.
But most of the time, stuff, if they can meet our standards, we put it in. The fun ones, less burn it with fire and more, are you really trying to pull this over us? Are the stories where people will take, say, A Christmas Tale, they'll find the transcript, they'll copy and paste it in, and then they'll control, find, and replace names with ponies and places with pony puns. Plagiarism dressed up pretty much, and that does happen from time to time. Usually it's caught the moment it comes up because you can tell by the writing or it just is blatant. They'll put, this is a crossover with X when really it is X, just pony. Any other questions you might have about that type of stuff?
Well, it's interesting you bring up the plagiarism thing because there's definitely cases of plagiarism on fan fiction. What do you guys do to ensure that people don't plagiarize other people's stories?
Well, let's see here. If we
catch it in the story queue in the first place, and we realize, hey, this sounds familiar. We search it up, and lo and behold, it's been posted on another account already. Well, they get a nice little warning of, hey, you're stealing other people's shit. We're being nice. We're warning you. It's not published on the site. So you haven't technically hit the point where it is plagiarism, through and through, because y'all can't see it. You can, but no one else can. Once it's up, or actually, let's go back to the queue thing. If they submit it again and it's still plagiarized, delete the story, give the account a 2-week ban, next one permanent. If we catch stuff on the site, if they only have one story with one instance, it's generally a delete the story, 2-week ban, don't do it again, or else it's permanent. Sometimes we do jump straight to a permanent, though, especially whenever they have numerous stories and we find out, hey, one got reported for plagiarism. When we look at the others and they're all stealing from others, then yeah, too bad, so sad, we don't give a shit, you're gone.
All right. Well, that answers those things. Thanks for the little diversion. We're going to jump back into the user-submitted questions.
No problem.
So, the next question is, your name is a combination of both space and cowboy. Those remind me of two certain ponies. Which do you like most, Luna or Applejack? Both is an option, but a disappointing option.
Let's just say between Luna and Applejack, there really is no question at all whatsoever. Due to the simple fact that, let's face it, Applejack, much like Rarity in what we see in the shows, is often portrayed as a stubborn bitch who only exists to serve to a detriment to her friends. I'm just saying. And again, it goes back, the show, we only use it when it's necessary, blah, blah, blah. But her character, as much as they try to push the whole family pony thing, she really gets used as a bitch almost as much as Rarity does.
Huh.
So, Luna, I'm just saying.
Okay. The next... Go ahead, Enigma.
Just because Luna hasn't had much of an opportunity to be a bitch.
Very true. And I will say that a lot of the fan views of Luna, like the gamer Luna, can go die in a dumpster fire. I'm just saying. But the, out of displaced, out of time, unfamiliar with the world, struggling to cope while she's thrown into a leadership role from the bat because Celeste is a manipulative bitch, I can sympathize and I feel for her.
All right. Next question that we've got. They ask, do you like anything else besides Cowboy Bebop?
There's plenty that I like besides Cowboy. Give me some areas of media and I'll give you some answers.
How about books?
Books, okay. I'm gonna go a bit cliche and start out with Tolkien. Fantasy. Fantasy's always been my pie, if you would. Slice of cake, pie, whatever you want to use. Tolkien was one of the, if not the very first book author I was introduced to. I'm sure you're familiar with The Hobbit to some degree.
Of course.
As a kid, we had a fully illustrated copy of The Hobbit. And when I was a young child, every night before bed, my mom would pull it out, read some to us. And that is pretty much my introduction into reading. And so that has stuck ever since. Along those lines with fantasy, Piers Anthony, before he got old and creepy and started getting more, like sexual predator in his writing. I've always been a fan of, my mind's blanking on her name, and I feel terrible because I have almost every single one of her books. The one who's probably most commonly known for the Pern series, the Dragon Riders of Pern. And I'll probably remember her name after all this, but she's an author that I'm a fan of. And then there are a few other series. You've got Robert Jordan and then Brandon Sanderson finishing off The Wheel of Time I enjoyed. There is a dragon fantasy series where dragons are introduced to the Napoleonic Wars, the Temeraire series or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, plenty of novels, mostly in the vein of fantasy. Hit me with another media type.
Music.
Music. That is a grab bag. Just don't give me any country. Johnny Cash is an exception. Don't give me any rap or hip hop. Recently, let's see, the Seatbelts, who did the soundtrack for Go Figure, Cowboy Bebop. As a matter of fact, I'd probably just pull up my library right here. As funny as this may sound, Adele is extremely impressive as an artist. Pink Floyd, I absolutely love until the day I die. Some of the folks over at OC Remix put out some pretty good albums at times. I'm just literally listing random authors out of the music I have on my tablet here, pretty much. Lindsay Sterling is impressive for her string work. Nobuo Uematsu is amazing for both not only his own band, but for all the compositions he's done. Already said Pink Floyd. Trans-Siberian Orchestra was always one of my favorites. I've caught 3 or 4 of their concerts live over the years, and it's always been a treat. So yeah, and just to finish it off, I'm going to go ahead and say Elton John, because I grew up with Disney. So Elton motherfucking John.
All right, let's move to the next question then. Final question from Lieutenant Major Dude is 3, 2, 1, are you ready to jam?
Always ready to jam with Tank.
Awesome. Next question comes from Famous Last Words. What is your favorite 90s song, and why should it be Damn It by Blink-182?
Well, it's not Damn It by Blink-182, so sorry but not sorry, Famous, you lose. 90s song, shit. I Want to Fly off of Space Jam, I'm just saying.
Okay, fair enough.
I remember that song. Song.
Silly, a great movie. Song was catchy, and it's the first thing that popped to mind. I'm sure I've always been listening to music since I don't even know when. So I'm sure I can keep on going on, but I'll go ahead and go with that one. Sounds good to me.
Awesome. Now we're going to questions from Snuffy. Question number 1. Why is Mordain Stronghoof the best story on FimFiction?
Nope. I want to stop you right there. Nope.
Okay.
You can, did you see my reply to him whenever he asked that question?
I did not.
I'm pretty certain he asked it because Mordain Stronghoof, as you know, I brought it up in the Barcast general chat one day as a prime example of everything that you could do wrong with an HIE self-insert, and continued to roast it for the next 3 days until I finally stopped reading the story because I didn't want my eyes to bleed anymore.
All right. Then we'll move on past that. Number 2. Is it becoming more common that people self-publish without a story approver?
Somewhat, yes. And generally speaking, it's not too much of an issue. We still have a few people who don't really think before they do. Let's face it, that's most people sometimes. But with the latest site update, it used to be you would need 3 stories to be able to basically skip the approval process and go straight to posting. With the update that happened start this month, last month, you only need 1 now, and after that, self-publish becomes an immediate option for you. There are a few people that I've gone and I've asked, in what world do you think this was okay? It's generally descriptions of all things, really. You wouldn't think it, but people are just incapable of coming up with descriptions that don't describe 1,000 stories. Or tell you, hey, you're looking at this description, go read the other one. That doesn't help. So, besides that, there generally hasn't been too much of an issue. Maybe a little bit more questionable content slipping through. But generally speaking, the users of the site are intelligent enough to understand whenever they see something questionable, they report it. Or, well, a few of us frequently browse the front page, we catch it, okay, we deal with it right then and there. So, I'm good for the next question if you want, or unless you got more for that specifically.
Well, the
Question.
next question is kind of tangential to it. Have there been many issues with self-improved stories not following the rules?
With what? The self-published stories not following the rules?
Yes.
Okay. So I kind of already explained that to some degree. Like I said, there have been some. A lot of people seem to run afoul of the meta rule lately, where they will slip in a username as part of the story or make them a major character. And we've never allowed that, really. At least far back as I can recall, to about 2013. And that has broken the rules a little bit. Like I said, we've had a few instances where we've had to take down cover art that was self-published because some people don't understand NSFW means not safe for work. And there are some things that may not explicitly show anything, but you sure as hell wouldn't want your coworkers or boss looking at it anyway. So some people seem to forget that line exists. As I tongue-tie a bit there. Those are generally the two things that I've seen as far as that goes. A lot of stuff that gets reported aren't stories so much as blogs and other comments. So, excuse me.
All right. Then let's move to the next question. You seem to have a soft spot for sappy romances. True or false?
Give me your shitty romances any time of the day, and I will read it to a pretty extreme limit whenever it comes to readability. I have suffered through some god-awful grammar and brain fart, some god-awful grammar and punctuation to read romance stories that appeal to me.
You read through my shitty romance story and you loved it, going by the comment you left.
Well, if I read your shitty romance story and I left a comment saying I liked it, then I liked it and I didn't care enough to look for the flaws. And that's whenever I'm reading, just in general, romance is my soft spot. I'd say probably 75% of the stories in my libraries across the spectrum are tagged as such. But if you can write a good story that grabs my attention and don't throw any gaping, obvious issues at me, I can sit through some pretty terrible stuff overall to read that story.
Awesome. Then we'll go to number 6. You often don't pull your punches in the comments when you think a story is going off the rails. Do you think authors need to get more tough love in general?
Well, let's just say I may not pull any punches, but if that's what they think tough love is, dear Lord, wake up to the world, please, because it gets a lot worse. Admittedly, yes, I have left some comments where I'm done typing it up and I realized I could have written a short story instead. I think my longest comment was somewhere around the vicinity of about 1,500 words, all explaining what went wrong in their story, whether it be, something that could have been caught in the planning process or a plot hole, or plot holes multiple. Those are always the fun ones. But the more invested you get me in a story, and then you start mishandling, you fumble it, or you just destroy it entirely, the more likely I am to leave one of those long, still constructive, I'd like to think still constructive, comments that gets a bit, it's blunt, it's to the point. I'm not going to dance around. I don't believe in the whole, what's a good analogy related to? Participation medals, if you would. I don't believe in, okay, you wrote the story, great, excellent, you know? It's like, hey, you wrote the story, it had promise, it was going great, you screwed up. I'm not going to give you a medal for that. I'm just going to tell you how it is, and if you think you can fix it, excellent. If you want to keep running with it, it's your story, it's your prerogative, and I'm sure I'll be asked at some point why I decided to write, and I'll probably come back up again then.
Now, I know you said that the story has promise, but what I heard you say was that the story has piranhas.
Fuck, Enigma! Enigma, what is wrong with you?
I don't think I've read a story with piranhas, and the first thing that comes to mind, though, piranhas, daring do. Make it happen.
Enigma, if you put tits on the piranhas, I swear to fucking God,
Wait.
I will gut you.
Wait, you want a clop story between Daring Do and a gang of piranhas? A school of them?
Daring do and eaten out by piranhas.
More like she's being dined in, and they're doing the dining.
Reverse vor. Got it.
Huh.
Dear Lord. Okay, that was a fun little tangent.
I realize I skipped number 5. Which story on this site are you currently most eager to see updated?
Shit. That's a hard one. I have a folder with, I believe it's nearing 200 stories now, none of which have been updated in the last 2 years, 95% of which I have read every available chapter to. And I've got like another 300 to 400 that I'm following at the moment, I think. Shit. Eeny, meeny, miny, mo. Which one comes to mind first? Let's go really far back, and let's say Growing Pains, even though Perth canceled it years ago. Because why not? No, I got a better one for you. Backwards Through the Mirror, I believe it's called. Very interesting story in which the, or I believe, Gaelic European view of changelings was used as a massive plot point, and it focused around Twilight pretty much being kidnapped and abducted by said changelings and turned into one. It got really interesting, and then the author just kind of poofed like a lot do.
Aw.
So I'll go ahead and say that one.
All right. Now we've got 5 more questions from Snuffy that are more of a roleplay nature. Space Cowboy, you and the Barcast are invited to attend the Grand Galloping Gala. The catch is that you made a deal with Twilight. Keep your friends out of trouble, or she will give you hugs tonight. Number 7.
He made it rhyme? Seriously? Did that just rhyme?
Yes.
Rhymes.
Oh, Lord. Pulling as a core.
You're fucked, man.
Are we?
Oh, yeah.
Well, you can try. It's not going to happen, though. Let's see what we do. Let's see what happens.
Number 7. You've been at the gala for 5 minutes, and Milk is already chasing and harassing Scootaloo. How do you solve the situation?
I grab Scootaloo, find the highest ledge, and jump off and float away. Because that's how chickens work, right? At least according to the
Jesus
Oh,
Christ.
God. That's the best answer I've ever heard. I'm gonna draw it. I'm so gonna draw that now.
Do it.
Number 8. 1 hour later, you find Enigma trying to, woo mares?
Woo, as in.
Woo mares by doing the caramel dancing on the dance floor. How do you solve the situation?
Who is Enigma trying to woo?
Anyone.
Anyone who will sleep with him because he's that desperate.
Well, good luck to you. I want to be taking video, and I'll make sure to post it to YouTube.
Thank you.
Public service.
I become Equestria's first meme.
Yep.
All right. Number 9. 2 hours in, you find an intoxicated Pencil sneaking up on Celestia, looking like she's ready to jump up on her back and ride her into battle. How do you solve the situation?
Don't forget the saddle.
Problem. I don't ride into battle bareback anyway. We got this.
Well, then I'd wish her well, and I'd help hold Celestia down.
Number 10. 3 hours in, and you see Flammenwerfer sneak a pill into Luna's drink. How do you solve? How do you solve the situation?
I'd chide Flam and tell him that if he wasn't going to write more of my best friend Luna, why would he be trying to drug her? I'd then drag him to the nearest bat pony, preferably one named Stella, and cut him loose.
That man, if that happened. No, she would fuck him up.
I'm just saying, I would use his creations against him just a bit.
Smart move. Very smart move.
Last but not least, number 11. The gala is almost over, but you see Flutter Priest heading towards the karaoke machine. How do you solve the situation?
If the karaoke machine needs money to operate, I fill it full.
Oh, God.
If Flutter's drink is empty, I top it off. And then I keep the fulls away.
And then you set the songs to Piano Man over and over.
That
Piano Man's overplayed. Come on, even TV shows make fun of Piano Man karaoke. No, you got to get more. You got to get more creative. How about some friendship songs for My Little Pony for karaoke?
Done that.
All right, now we've got questions from Seventh Heaven. Few questions. Number 1, is Cowboy Bebop your favorite show? And if not, what is?
Cowboy Bebop is my favorite anime. I'll go and say that. I watch a lot of other TV shows, and so to just put it at the top doesn't really do justice to all the other stuff I've watched. In case you are curious, I think right now my favorite TV show is a mix between the first 5 seasons of Supernatural and a Canadian SWAT team equivalent show called Flashpoint.
Oh, okay. Number 2, what would you say is the most taxing part of being a story approver?
Hi, I'm new to site. Here's my story. Can you edit?
Oh, God.
I love those.
Oh, geez.
Just absolutely love them.
Yeah. And of course, my short bio, long time ago, I put, if you have any story-related questions, please ask. People seem to think that their ideas and actual editing is what I should be looking at and helping them with.
Because you're a story approver.
Yeah.
Oh, boy.
Yep. I still think I'm going to run off on a tangent real quick. It is somewhat of a badge of honor when you are reported for doing your story approval duties. And I think my best to date was someone who took their Spanish story, slapped it into Google Translate for English, changed all of their punctuation back to Spanish punctuation, the inverted question marks, exclamation points. And then after I failed their story, because it was, I told them, hey, you translated this and that's all, you need to have someone help you clean it up. I first got reported for, I don't remember what the first report was for. The second report, though, I got reported for being racist against Mexicans. That's the report I've had against me to date.
Oh, God. All right.
You've never
You're
reported
welcome
us
to
for that.
continue
Shit.
this question now.
You're an English.
I'm surprised no one reported me for being Mexican.
Wow.
Let us do that.
Cha-cha-cha.
Yep.
And final question from Seventh Heaven. Number 3. If you had to pick one user on the site who had the most writing talent, who would it be?
One user on the site with the most talent. That's debatable because some people with talent piss it away on stupid shit.
Like writing My Little Pony fan fiction.
I wasn't going to go that low of a blow. I wasn't going to go that low.
Sorry.
And then there are others who have very little talent but are able to put together a coherent story that far outstripes those who have talent but waste it away trying to do their shit. For the sake of being polite, I'm not going to name one individual above the others because I'm not sure I could. Some people lately who I've been enjoying reading from, though. Excuse me. I know some people find some issues with this writing, and it does have its flaws. But Raycan has been an author that I've been interested in the writings of lately. Damaged is another interesting individual that I've known for a bit of time now. And while some stuff I definitely wouldn't read, their creativity is extremely interesting to read and see the product of. Some of you people are half decent, I'm just saying. Some others I might help toss in a dumpster. I won't name names.
Enigma.
Nah,
Good comment on me.
but
But he keeps climbing back out.
Nah, I'm a dumpster fire. I get it.
Hey, Enigma put tits on a dragon. I'm just saying. Tits on a reptile. Come on, Enigma.
Yeah, but he wasn't the first
man.
person to do it. He was not the first person to do it.
Oh, I have no
He did
doubt.
it worse, which makes him.
We're talking about a website where there have been dozens, if not hundreds, of Spike harem stories. So, yeah, I'm sure someone did it before Enigma. Anyway, looping back around, yeah, it's just, honestly, there's too many names to name because, like I said, you can be flawed as a writer. It's not so much the talent, it's what you do with it. And honestly, a lot of people who have the talent are too pretentious to put it to proper use. So, not all. Not going to name any names or such, but I look at content rather than, oh, they're really talented. Because you can have well-written stuff that's still not entertaining, etc., etc.
Oh yeah, I've run across a number of stories like that.
So, what else do you got?
All right, now we've got some questions from Chap Penguin Lips. Chap, do you want to ask your own questions?
Sure.
Go
Go
for
ahead,
it, man.
Chap. Do it, Lemmy.
Come on,
Okay.
Chappy Chap.
First question: how much of the show have you actually seen?
In summation, between the TV show, the movies, and the shorts that have been released, I have seen about 45 seconds.
Yeah. That's what I thought I remembered. Why is that?
As you know, things are produced given certain visual styles to try to appeal to specific age groups. I have simply, unfortunately, outgrown the animation style that My Little Pony took. A lot of the cartoons of today that a lot of people are like, this is awesome, fantastic. I just can't sit down and watch because the visual style just no longer appeals to me as an individual, unfortunately.
So it's like the difference between watching something made, say, back in the 80s, like 80s and 90s, like Cowboy Bebop, where everything was hand-drawn and hand-animated and only computer-enhanced, whereas now it's all made on computer and it's all really super simple and, I'm going to say, quick and easy.
I think it's more, honestly, I think a large part of it is more that cartoons are extremely more targeted in their audience these days.
Mm.
And so everything is done with that audience in mind. Because the most recent cartoon that I can even recall watching was some of the Venture Brothers and Archer. Actually, Archer's a little bit more recent. But even then, that was more mature oriented, and it's only a cartoon in the sense of how it's animated. So
yeah,
it's just given my time watching children's cartoons of today's time, or watching my shows that I may be interested in on Netflix, the shows kind of went out now.
All right. Next question. How was your time?
I want to interrupt you.
Oh, okay. Go ahead.
Along those veins of having only watched it a little bit at a time, I believe Chap has been told of this. Some of you might remember Poltron whenever he was still on staff. But when it originally came out, that I had watched very little of the show at all. Both Poltron and Nighty both called me a faggot. It first and only time in my life I've ever been called a faggot not watching an animated cartoon show. Yep.
So what I hear
Anyways.
is that you don't want to kiss another dude. What are you, gay?
Wow. Yes.
Pretty much.
No, I figured that would be something worth sharing because I found it hilarious, and I still find it hilarious being called a faggot for not watching My Little Pony.
That seems
All right,
like
Chap,
Natty and
go
Poltron.
right ahead.
Yep, going ahead, Chap, with your second question.
Okay. How was your time in the Air Force?
It was interesting. My job was long periods of nothing, then the period of an adrenaline rush for 20, 30 minutes up to an hour, hour and a half at times. I do not like having incompetent individuals over me. Unfortunately, that is the way of life in the workforce. But overall, I'll call it an enlightening experience. I said the job I did was a blast, and even now I miss it. And it's been, this is July. I believe I've been separated from the Air Force for 5 years now. But it was definitely a trip. And it paid for my school, so that was a plus.
That's always a bonus, yeah. Okay. So, in my short time of story approving, I picked up on a couple things that trigger me a little bit whenever I see certain mistakes or errors in stories. Are you similar at all? Are there any sort of fics you approve that just really grind your gears, or any errors you see in people's writing that just irritate you?
Well, Chap, do you really want to know what grinds my gears?
I do.
Okay. So, first off, stories of questionable content or nature. Okay, you want to do these horrible, horrendous things to these poor little fillies. What did the CMC ever do to you, you horrible monster? That is definitely something that bugs me. Gore fics, in general. What the fuck are you doing writing gore fics for My Little Pony?
Fun.
What about
Yeah,
soul?
that's-
What about Soulvore?
What about what?
Soulvore.
Fetish. It's fine. Don't worry about it. It's just one of Enigma's many fetishes. Continue.
Oh, you mean vor?
Oh no, he means vor of the soul. Don't worry. It's literally just his fetish. You can ignore him. We always do anyway.
Well, you gotta realize whenever you say vor, there are far too many options available. There should be, under any set of moral circumstances, any definition. Just don't show me the details. I'm just saying, like, snake ponies are an interesting concept. Lamia, what have you, those are kind of cool. Naga. But, no hard details, please. But back to what grinds my gears. Dumbass people who are incapable of understanding what grammar punctuation means after we've failed the story 3 times and put them on their final warning. And they still resubmit it for the 4th time, and all this happens in the span of 20 minutes.
Oh, Jesus.
Yep, exactly. Yep, your grammar and punctuation are not up to standards. Why don't you go look at this lovely writing guide? And 20 minutes later, we're deleting their story and giving them a 24-hour ban because they're fucking stupid. Oh, did I say that last part out loud? Shock fix. shock fics can go burn in dumpster fire because, let's face it, that's where they belong.
Okay, so I'm ignorant, and I'm sure at least a few other people are. What the hell is a shock fic?
I'm sure you have heard of the accounts. Let's see, Something Emo and Edgy is one.
Oh, okay.
When to Life is another. And you have smaller problems, such as, say, Evictus is a common, well-known individual at the moment.
Mm.
But a shock fic itself is writing content that is meant to make you go, oh my dear fucking god, what is this? It serves no purpose other than to try to make you spill your lunch from your stomach.
Okay. Okay.
That so adorable. Hey.
Yeah, that's
It's my life, though.
Adorable.
It's my life.
Besides that, there are a few other things that just come up a lot. It's less, grind degree or triggered as it is just, dear God, not again. But those would probably be the worst offenders as far as what grinds my gears. Oh, one more thing. Any story, that falls underneath the following universes: Fall of Equestria, Fallout Equestria, 5 score, some of The Last Pony on Earth, Five Nights at Freddy's, although thank God those died long. People hopping on a bandwagon with subpar stories whose plots are so questionable you wonder who the fuck even thought of this. That is the last grinding of my gears for you.
Seems like they've been ground quite a bit. All right, so my next question has pretty much already been asked, so I'm going to skip to this. You're about to graduate college, or finish with your courses and everything. How does that feel? Congratulations, dude.
Let's just say I've been in burnout for pretty much the last year, so it's phenomenal. I have something around the vicinity of 31 days and 7 hours left until I finish my final course. Yes, I'm counting literally to the hour and minute. Stay in school, kids. It's a good idea. It's a good idea to show up to your finals in college. I'm just saying. If you feel like you're not prepared for college and you have the ability to go, take a year off, work a job, grow as a person, cool. But yeah, I'm thankful I'm almost done, to say the least. It's also why I'm quitting my job in 2 weeks.
Hooray! Congratulations.
You sounded more sarcastic.
Yeah, you really did.
Congratulations, Shinji.
Is that better?
Oh yeah,
Okay.
I am so thrilled to be quitting my job. It's just, oh dear God. It's phenomenal.
Well, we got a whole bunch of questions and we're already halfway through, so let's see what we can do to get through the rest of these.
Y'all don't want to go long?
We're an hour deep.
By the way, since we're an hour in, do you have that question for me now, or do you still want to wait?
I don't think I've said y'all enough. How drunk are you?
I can fix that.
Drunk enough, man. Everybody take a shot.
Nah, I just intended to poke fun at you about certain things.
Y'all.
Don't do it. Poke fun at him for days. Everyone beats up on Enigma.
Okay. Enigma. What would you
Yes.
rather do? Write a clock fic where you have dragons with breasts on them? Or write a Spike Harem story complete with mature content?
Both, actually. Make Spike Barb and then have her, male harem.
Oh,
Enigma.
I'd probably have to get really creative to trip you up then.
Yes, Pencil.
So we never have to hear
Sounds
your
like
voice
Pencil
again.
has something up.
Please,
What
please
was
don't.
that you said, Pencil? You cut out.
We never have to hear your voice again.
But you love my voice.
I do not. I do not.
So
I wish
I'm,
for your death. Every
I'm
morning
gonna-
I wake up and I say, I hope he's dead today. And then I turn on my Discord and I go, well, fuck. So, no.
Well, what would be better than him dying, though, was his family finding all of his Discord history and reading it.
Makuro, we bought him that he has in his room.
I know.
I don't have a room.
Oh my god, Enigma, please die. Anyway, next.
Now we have some questions from Tony Montana. First question is, what will come after MLP is ended?
I'm not even sure if my writing will continue or not. As I stated, my writing kind of waned because I associated it with school. Online classes heavy on the writing, and so instead of spending thousands of words a week on Pony, it was thousands of words a week on dry, technical, boring content that was kind of required. If my writing goes again, if Pony does die, and 90 never gets gen fiction going, probably would not. I don't know. It depends. I have way too many things going on, soon to be going on, to really be able to tell what is next. I'd like to think, it's a career, place of my own, a library in my own house, make a nice, impressive study. But, I don't know.
So you're gonna morph your body into Twilight Sparkle.
That sounds like a lofty scientific goal that lays far outside the realms of my potential.
Also, sounds similar to probably a pony fiction that I'm sure Enigma will probably write.
If I ever get around to it, I have a very amusing, we call it a pseudo self-insert, but fuck it, I'll be honest and say it's a complete total self-insert. If I ever get around to writing that, that'll be a trip.
Oh boy.
Yep, exactly.
Next question is, how long do you think the fandom in general will last after the show has ended?
That one's hard to pin down. Obviously, it's not a show that has a wing like Star Trek does. But at the same time, My Little Pony is on the third generation, if I recall.
Fourth
And what?
generation.
Fourth generation, okay. So obviously, it has some power. And I don't think the fandom is ever going to die, especially since, so much stuff is available on the internet. As some, as people leave, more come.
Right.
So I have a feeling it will be around for something to stay. As far as new content goes, I don't think it'll ever totally dry up, but there may come a point where, like on fanfiction.net, where you look through something and you think this should be mercy killed, it may one day reach that point.
Right, of course.
In terms of new content.
Oh, you mean like Sonic the Hedgehog?
Sonic the Hedgehog, gotta go fast. Doing rings of coke.
So next question. We kind of covered it a little bit, but assuming that gen fiction doesn't take off, how long do you think that film fiction will last?
Honestly, it's probably as long as it's profitable to run it. If you start losing money on a website that started out as a side project, and it's ran for a decade plus, then it might be time to consider go ahead and closing the doors. I do think that they will eventually get it going. I believe there are plans to allow original fiction on the website sometime in the near future. I don't know how long gen fiction will be though, but I don't think the site's going anywhere anytime soon. We still have a fair chunk of new registers coming in, even though yes, some of them are bots. Quite a lot of them are bots.
Quick question, how do you tell?
It's usually relatively obvious, although they've taken lately to spamming out stuff via PMs, which is usually only noticeable if someone reports it or if Naidi or Zakusek go into the database to examine the sent emails and realize, hey, spam. But the early days, it was really easy because they would literally blog and blog and blog and blog. Just all these product ads. That's actually why account deletion was first introduced, was to combat those bots.
Wow.
Yep. That's also why we never deleted user accounts. And for a while, we did the self-requested bans if they wanted it closed out. So.
Okay. Now we have a fuck, kill, marry scenario for you.
Yay, those.
And of course, here on the Barcast, I almost slipped up there. Killing yourself is always an option. So, fuck, kill, marry, or kill yourself between Thingpone, Ember with a huge pair of lactating dragon tits, and a Trap who is so effeminate that for all intensive purposes is essentially a Fuda with a flat chest.
For essential purposes, a Fuda with a flat chest kind of requires having a vagina. I'm just saying, no vagina, they're not quite a Fuda. So, and out of curiosity, who is it that came up with these three options?
Job. Tony Montana.
Am I dropping right?
Montana. Tony Montana did it. Tony Montana did it.
Yep,
I think I'm
pencil's
drunk.
right.
Let's just say I would much rather have a nicer selection than those and keep my self-dignity intact and just commit Hirakiri.
Fair enough.
Always an option.
Final question from Tony Montana is, what do cowboys ride in space?
Spaceships, of course.
Of course.
I mean, I could go for a pun, but that would require thought. And unfortunately, my wit isn't so great. Unless I just come up with shit on the spot. I could say space cows.
Space cows.
Yep.
All right. Next questions come from Nobody Special. That's the name of the user.
Ooh,
Can
are they special?
Can you take us through the life of a story approver?
Sure. I wake up. At some point, I end up in front of my computer on my tablet. I bring up the admin page. I look at the approved queue. I pull up the first story. I stare at it for about 30 seconds. I then close the window and start playing video games.
Where comes a step where you reevaluate your life choices?
I am way past the point of even considering reevaluating my life choices. I'm in too deep.
I can totally empathize with that. Next, what question? What story are you most proud of writing?
As far as the most proud, it's currently incomplete, and it's a hot mess. But, one sec. Excuse me. Right now, I'd have to say that distinguishment goes to Rebirth by Fire. Shit, I don't even remember the precise title. Is Rebirth Through Fire or Rebirth of Fire or something like that. My writing first began because I read a bunch of stories and I disliked how the author handled specific elements within their story. Felt like there were things that could have been done better. Just you're a reader, you're stuck with what they give you. So, I decided I could do stuff better. And some of my stuff sort of came out. I won't call them complete fictions, but a lot of them were on the threshold of being fictions. Or fic.
Fix it, fix. Yep.
Fix it, fix. romance yet. But the one I'm most proud of is shortly after the whole Twilight immortality thing came out, or people, were thinking about it. I cranked out my little one shot of, hey, screw all of you writing your sad fics. Here's something a little bit more thoughtful. It's still garbage, but because of the timing, it, got featured, people loved it, blah, blah, blah. I looked at the idea of immortality and how, something different, not just, hey, this person's an alicorn, so they're immortal. That transitioned into, human and equestria elements. And I came up with this really weird idea of, let's take a human, stick him full of Phoenix DNA, and surprise, every time he dies, he's literally reborn in an inferno. And that is the story I think I wrote 50,000 words or so in a single month before I hit my burnout. And I'm sure it's a hot mess now, but I think that's the one I'm most proud of. My first story I did complete it. It was a Twilunar romance. I'm proud of, actually finishing one. It was 85,000 words, I think. But it's an even hotter mess, to the point where I can't even read it anymore.
So I suppose that kind of ties in. Conversely, what's the story you most regret writing?
Honestly, the only thing I really regret writing, in all my time on the site, I have deleted 2 stories from my user page, just 2. Technically, I've removed a 3rd, but that was more of a collaboration that turned into a nightmare and headache, and it wasn't worth the effort, blah, blah, blah. Never going to be completed, so I went ahead and just pulled it. The first one, I was in a really weird, dark, moody place, and I thought it'd be hilarious to write a story where each chapter was taking a brony into Equestria and killing them in different ways, and making a Hunger Games event out of it, pretty much. Every human's a spectacle, a new episode in a show. That one got deleted. I regretted that one. And the other one was Obsolescence's Peach Fad fic. I deleted that one too. So that was just I think mine was like the 40th of the Peach stories at the time, and I'm just like, why did I even do this in the first place? So.
Okay. Then next question, final one from Nobody Special. Tits, thighs, or ass?
Tits, thighs, or ass, huh?
On a human or on a horse?
Yes.
Yes.
Just generic blanket statement, yes. I'm going to say I'm more of a tits guy, but it's within reason. Too big? No. Just right size. This is going to sound a little bit creepy, but, just handful. Just a handful.
Right, fair enough. Next question comes from Desh Loon.
Okay.
If you could, would you?
If I could, would I what? That's kind of an open question.
That's the point.
Well, shit, I mean, if you could, of course you'd do it. I don't know what it is in this scenario. Within reason, there are some things that are just, why would you ever? But I mean, if you're given the opportunity to do whatever might come to mind that sounds entertaining, hey, might as well do it.
Fair enough. Now we have questions from Full Mare, who has questions for Spooby Cooby.
That's the question.
Number 1.
Excellent.
Which CMC would you violate non-sexually? Asterisk. Extremely sexually.
The CMC do not appeal to me as characters used in that way. I like them more as incarnations of chaos, despite the fact that they have since been given their cutie mark by the show. I see no point to violating them, because why would you potentially harm that which violates the entire town on a near daily basis?
Okay. Number 2, what is the average day on FinFic for you?
The average day on FinFic is me generally refreshing the page, seeing if any new updates have come out, glancing at the front page and looking for the, now pink romance tag to see if there's anything of interest in the newer updated. I do a quick glance to see, what reports may be filed, what's in the queue sometimes. I occasionally actually touch stories still. And occasionally I'll actually read something. Most of my time is spent going through the 800-something read it later stories in the bookshelf and deciding what I might be interested in reading. And by the time I've looked through it, I really don't have the time to read it anymore. Go figure.
Go figure. Number 3, pancakes or waffles?
Considering the fact that on my recent vacation I completely jacked up making pancakes, I'm gonna say waffles. I murdered that pan with the pancakes.
Why would you do that to pancakes? What have they done to you, man? The hell?
My friend's pan wasn't really non-stick, and I forgot to put the stuff in to make it non-stick. So yeah, I totally murdered it.
Would pouring maple syrup over pancake foam count as bukkake?
Well, considering on my trip I had real Canadian-made maple syrup, I'll call it whatever the fuck you want, so long as it's associated with sex.
All right. Number 4, if you could be any non-pony species, what would you be? And zebras don't count because they're only 3/5 of a pony.
Are we allowed to do crosses, or can it be just no pony period?
Sure, do a cross.
The notion of Kirins are of extreme interest to me.
Okay, you'll have to explain that because I have no idea what the fuck you just said.
They're half dragons, half ponies.
Yeah, Kirins are half dragon, half pony. And of the few stories that I've seen individuals actually use, they're pretty much all wasted. Wasted potential. So, yeah. It's an interesting mix because you have the awesomeness of dragons. And let's face it, in the fantasy genre, dragons are up there so long as you do not invoke Cthulhu. And, yeah. So the idea of then, mixing is an interesting one.
All right, now we're going to some questions from Mobile Sam. We have Would You Rathers. So number 1, would you rather live a life where all of your food has an overpowering salty taste, or live a life where all of your food is completely tasteless no matter how much sauce or seasoning you add?
I would live in a world where I would be the one cooking, so it wouldn't matter. I'm just saying. But obviously, food having taste is kind of, part of the whole thing of food besides needing it to live and stuff. I live in southern Louisiana, okay?
Right.
Food got to taste well because, hey, that's how it is down here. So Cajun, seafood, a little bit extra salt. Well, someone needs to learn how to fuck.
Is that where you're patrolling right now, or are you patrolling the scene of Deliverance?
Fuck Enigma. Oh. Air.
Because it's free.
Why do you bask in my sunlight?
Motherfucker.
It cuts out and all we hear is motherfucker.
In your sunlight. I'm agoraphobic, motherfucker.
Oh.
So what's the next one?
Would you rather write a 10,000-word cliched fic full of improper grammar, misspelled words, and a horrible OC, then memorize it word for word and present it to the entire world through a live reading where you'll imitate all the characters' voices, or repeatedly slam your face into a table for an hour?
Face, table, hour. It's a date.
Got it. Number 3, have a paper cut between all your fingers or on both corners of your mouth.
Number 3 is a fucking sadist question. I'm just saying. How about I go with neither, and I just burn all the paper instead? Who needs it?
Always an option.
It is true. Killing yourself is always an option.
No, I'm killing all the paper.
All right. We'll move on to the next one. Would you rather have $1 million right now or $5,000 a week for the rest of your life? If you choose $5,000 a week, you will die a slow, agonizing, humiliating death at an unknown point in the future.
Considering the fact that the individual who asked this needs to learn about the power of money now versus the power of the future. $1 million up front, you can make a hell of a lot more through investing immediately and be making a hell of a lot more than $5,000 a month for the rest of your life. I'm just saying. So yeah, I'd take the cool mill.
All right. Then number 5. Would you rather have your tongue cut off with a piece of paper or get fucked by a silverback gorilla?
That's a very interesting, oddly specific subspecies of gorilla to use. I'm just saying.
Y'all.
Couldn't they at least be interesting? I'll be honest with you, that one's kind of lame.
Well, if you prefer not to answer it, we can move on to questions from Alex_.
Hey, Alex! He's our friend.
Okay, let's hear it from Alex_ then. I'm sorry, if they'd been a little bit more creative, shock value, sadist stuff, yeah, I would have had more fun with it.
Fair enough. First question, what is your funniest anecdote?
Funniest anecdote. I'm getting my terms mixed up. Remind me again what an anecdote is so I don't have to go to Google.
Story. A personal story about something that happened to you.
It's just something that happened to me. There's no story associated or
A funny story.
Just a funny story.
Happened to you.
Okay. So
That
it's
happened to you.
Okay. Let's see here.
Who touched you?
Wow.
You should.
Was it the people from Deliverance?
Was it Vylon?
Well, if it makes you feel any better, I'm not driving for a bit now, so yeah, I'm sure you've been enjoying the wonderful roads of New Orleans. Anecdote. Let's come back to that one while I think on it. That one requires a bit of thought.
All right. What are the strangest premises for stories that you've encountered in the approval queue?
Strangest premise, oh dear God. The time loop ones are always weird. What's that story called again? Shit. There is an HIE where the premise itself starts out, kind of boilerplate standard. Excuse me, the same. And then it starts to show why time loops and time travel is convoluted and fucked up. It's like the main character gets dumped into Equestria's past before the unification. Somehow ends up in a mortal bitch practice magic. Ends up being the mother Celestia and Luna. And then things get weird whenever it's like, oh, Earth, everybody on Earth got superpowers and then caused their own death destruction. Time travel. What the fuck did I just read? Holy carrot. I wish there was more. Other strange premises, usually I just kind of skim through short descriptions. So there's some that'll let me go, huh? What the fuck? You have, I believe it's Flutter Priest's story where Cadence is a sexual predator and people somehow...
No, there are multiple ones where Cadence is a sexual predator. Which one?
The one I specifically talked to you about where Cadence was a sexual predator, where you
Parents'
had
Night
to
Out.
portray the devastations that it would cause, but people ate it up and wanted more because they loved it.
Yep, Parents' Night Out.
Yeah, that one, Parents' Night Out. That one was a weird one, and I still have yet to bring myself to read it, even though I told you, 14 months ago or so I would?
Yeah. It's a thing.
Yeah. Like, the only reason why I considered even reading it is because it was actually, despite how much people loved it, it was an actual attempt to portray the true consequences, fallout, and devastation such a thing could cause. So rather than just being full con with a stamp on it. Those ones stand out the most. I'm sure there are far weirder ones. I believe it's Black Rose Raven Rose or something. They've got some 6, 7, 8 million words series or something that they wrote that went largely under the radar. I read some of. And that one was weird because it brought a lot of Greek mythology into play, I believe it was. So that one got really weird. Its premise. Yeah, next question.
All right.
Yes, please.
How come you're the last of the story approvers to give yourself up to the Barcast?
Because Flutter Priest inquired roughly around the start of the year. I'm like, hey, I'm driving home. I got home about 40 minutes later. I pinged, hey, what's up? You're talking about the Barcast stuff. And Flutter Priest then went on to never answer my message on Skype for the rest of the year until I brought it up with Barcast.
Right. That was my fault. My bad.
That's right. It's all your goddamn fault, Flutter. All your fault. Shun.
All right.
Next question.
Next question. Is the Barcast a clothing optional podcast?
Considering I'm at work, it kind of is. If you caught me at home, 6 p.m. my time local, yeah, I'd probably still be clothing. At least shorts. Shirt, not required. If it had been more late night, well, maybe some drawers. Just saying. Drawers and probably sandals for whatever reason. Just to mix it up oddly.
All right. And then last but not least, the questions for you from Alex _. Can you please pull up alongside a police car, roll down the window, and scream, "Fucking normies! Ree!" live on stream? We got Priest to do it the other day.
No. Well, I may be quitting this job. It has been it is my last place of employment, and I would kind of like to have a positive feedback for whenever I go to apply for future jobs. Not really something you need to do.
So I'm seeing on your record here that it says that you rolled down the window and yelled at an officer, re. Care to explain this?
Confirm.
Precisely.
All right. Now there's a few questions to me. Can we see your fidget? See you fidget with your big black spinner, and I say no. Am I feeling less ill? No, I feel sick as a dog. Sorry. And then to Ravage, something, plug the art stream.
Oh, yeah.
Pour it out. Pour out the art stream. Be a whore. Do it.
Talk about it.
All right, so the art stream is basically just like this, where we're trying to get guests on, hopefully, and yeah, it's not just interview. We're trying to get other artists to come on and actually do live drawings with us. So, yes, please come watch it. Please support my Patreon so we can continue doing it, because believe it or not, it does actually cost money to do. And yeah, just come along, come see us to have a good time, and that's pretty much all we're about over there.
Brand new content.
Yay!
More enthusiasm, more life, more explosions.
Well, unless we get an animator, there's not going to be any explosions.
Give it time. Give it time. So, now we're going to go to questions from Trickster Forrester. who says, "It's that Space Cowboy. Oh shit, what up?" So, Spacey, have you ever punched a pelican in its big, dumb, fucking muzzle, or alternatively, have you shanked an elephant in the cloaca? And if so, why the fuck would you do something like that? Have you got no fucking heart, you evil fucking fourth-dimensional lizard man? Fuck you and your fucking feral sea monkey offspring!
Elephants have cloacas?
That can be summarized in about 2 words. Oh my.
Or no. Oh, there you go. That sums it up.
Funny aside, the brown pelican is the state bird. I have seen both brown pelicans and normal pelicans. And I've seen the things where they kind of invert their throat and it kind of sticks out a bit and it's weird. And I've seen a pelican decide it's going to eat another bird and nothing will stop it. That was interesting to see. I think I was 6. That was a very interesting thing to see at 6. I think whoever it is needs to remember to take their Ritalin next time before they ask their question. Bit too far? Not far enough?
No, you're doing fine. You're doing fine.
Now
Next
we're going to
question.
go to a question from the other guy, who says, "I want to take a moment of the podcast to say I'm finally employed and moving on in life. So, congratulations, on the other guy. I'm happy for that." And then he continues by saying, "On that note, what the fuck is wrong with my boss? He tells me it's going to be hard. I'm going to spend most of my time on my knees and I may get wet. He could have just told me I'd be a gardener. The fucker got my hopes up for nothing."
After the fact, headphone warning.
Warnings. We want our people to suffer. We love them that much.
He also does this every week, so it's kind of expected at this point.
So congratulations for your new job as a meme. I'm sure it doesn't pay very much, but it's better than nothing. So congratulations. And the congratulations are over.
All right. Then he asks, which of your stories would you recommend he read first?
Well, I've already covered the one I liked most or most proud of. Covered the one I actually completed first. You can always look at my other completed story that was the product of a 48 hours of no sleep. I decided that there would be no lines, and I wrote the first shit that came to mind. As a result, you have a human punching Twilight in the face, becoming a girl, turning into an alicorn, and in a few points in the story, getting railed by Twilight, Luna, and both of them. Sounds like it'd fit well.
Sounds like something you'd be interested in. Next question. Is there something in this fandom that you just straight despise?
Oh, dear God. Dear God, is there ever? I don't think there's any paper long enough to list it on. But I will go straight up to just one thing. And I will say those who ride the coattails of other people, most notably seen as people who decided that they liked Past Sentence. Yeah, that's the name of that shit story, Past Sentence. And they decided they'd write all their stories with the Knicks. Absolutely despise that sort of shit.
Okay. Final question from the other guy is nipple ring or nipple stud?
It depends on how it's pierced. If it goes all the way around, it'd be a ring. If, there's no loop, then it's probably a stud. Or no, that'd be a nipple bar. I think a nipple stud is physically impossible.
I believe the question is preference, though.
Preference? That makes it a completely different question altogether. And I like my nipples pure. What can I say?
Fair. Virgin nipples. Now then, we have some questions from RK Striker JK5. First question is, do you write for other fandoms?
Nope. I gave one short attempt at Pokemon, realized I hadn't played the game or watched the show in about 5 to 8 years, and I knew absolutely nothing about it. And yeah, that's pretty much it. I tried original fiction once. It drove me down to a dark alleyway, kicked me out of the car, and proceeded to run me over a few times. So, just My Little Pony.
All right, we've already covered the favorite non-NLP franchise. So, if Zorro and the Lone Ranger ever met, how long before Batman shows up and recruits them to fight Vandal Savage?
Batman's too busy jerking off in his cave with all of expensive toys, screaming, "I am Batman," as he massages his poor ego after being thrashed by Superman. Because Superman is not stupid. In the meantime, Zorro and you said it was the Lone Ranger, right?
Yes.
Zorro and the Lone Ranger are currently meeting out justice through time across space, because why the fuck not? Let's make an interesting show about it.
All right. Then next question comes from Patchwork Poltergeist, who's a friend of the cast. Do some call you the gangster of love, or do some people call you Maurice?
Wrong reference.
Okay.
Okay. All right.
Man, that got a little under your skin. It sounded like Jesus.
Just as a tangent, one of the other handles that I use in my actual real life affairs is a variation of my name, and I use good old Tom Sawyer, Mark Twain, and I cannot tell you how many times I have people ask me if I got it from the Rush song. So it kind of tied in there. I believe it was Rush anyway.
Yeah, no, it's Rush, but the song by Rush is based on the book.
Yeah, and more people know the song than they do the books. It's one of those
I'm gonna take a deep breath and try not to kill myself. It's fine. It's fine. It's fine. Can we move on?
Yes.
So I don't have to end it all.
Pencil.
Well, y'all, let's
I'm sorry.
Let's not killing herself, y'all.
It's time.
I'm laying down on the job. Sorry, priest. Let me get adorable.
Questions with byline.
That's okay.
Hey.
Y'all missed me the other night whenever I got real drunk. Some of y'all did anyway. Others saw me in the Barcast for a few hours, I think it was.
Yay. But it's time what everyone looks for. We have questions with Vylon. So number one, well, we actually kind of covered favorite pony, unless you consider it to be different from best pony.
You know what? I'm just gonna go ahead and throw out Twilight and Luna, because the Twi-Luna pairing is also part of the reason why I decided to start writing. So it still holds a special mention, even if best pony is now Sunset Shimmer.
All right. What is your personal favorite fic on the site?
Personal favorite fic? Oh dear God. It's kind of hard
Like
to
the
pick
one-
out one story. I've read, I believe the current total in my tracking and completed stories is around 40 million words now, I think, 45.
Well, here's a better way to put it. Which
Yeah.
one do you go back to read over and over and over again?
Awkward silence moment.
Yay.
The problem with stuff like that is that there's never just one. There's always a few.
Mm.
And it's one of those things that you remember as you're flipping through them rather than it sticking in your mind. One of the ones that I've recently reread, though, I'll go ahead and just throw that out there because I remember it. There is a story by the name of Shifting Melodies that actually was a RP between two individuals who work well together. that didn't really get. Okay, I got a little bit hung up on the romance stuff, but it opened up really strong with a good story. And until the last chapter or two, when it became completely obvious neither of them had any idea what the fuck to write about, was a good story for all million words of it. So hey, let's go with that one. It was a collaborative effort between Osbrony and shit, I can't remember his name. The other fellow is the one who actually has posted on his account, though. Excuse me.
Well, hopefully that's enough for
I'm
people
gonna
to
get
go find it
upset.
by.
Yeah, Shifting Melodies, I think is literally the only title, which is surprising given how many Octavia Vinyl Scratch stories there are.
Did you just say vinyl?
Sorry to rush us along, guys.
Yes, I said vinyl. I say vinyl. I say vinyl. Get over it. I say them
We're running
both.
a little low on time, so we need to be moving on to the next question, okay? I'm sorry to do that. We have a lot of questions to get through, and we're trying.
Like I said, if y'all are willing to stick past 2 hours, I'm willing as well. I don't know if it's a hard limit for y'all or what, but
No, it's a pretty hard time for some of us. So we'll move to the next question. What do you think of getting sloppy seconds?
that is depends on who it'd be, honestly. There's some things where it's just like, no, it's not worth it. There are others where you could probably be getting sloppy, sloppy thirds, fourths, fifths, sixths, whatever, and it would be worth it.
Yeah.
That's just depends on the situation.
Okay. Would you rather staple tapeworms on your penis or drink brain juice from a fetus? Or kill yourself, of course.
What is up with people in these crazily far-fetched things? It's just like, why would you want to do either?
Welcome to the Barcast. All right.
Retain the honor, hiri.
Would you rather suck on your grandma's eyeballs or have a dozen naked toddlers humping every part of your body?
Jesus Christ! What the?
That's what we have. This is normal. This is normal for us.
This is Vylon, you said?
Yeah.
Vylon is a sweetie.
I thought I had some fucked up thoughts in the past. But you're showing me new levels. Congratulations. And again, the answer to that one would have to be hiri.
All right, next question.
Okay.
Next one.
Okay.
Next one is a role play question. You are a pedophile. And by the name of Pedo Bear, your dream has come true. A little boy willingly comes to you for you to take his virginity. However, he wants it in either of two special ways. Will you rather give your nostrils or your pee hole?
That is disturbing on so many fucking levels. I cannot even.
You can't even.
Oh no, death again, I'm assuming?
There's a line between out there and disturbing and fucked up, and that's kind of on the other side. So, what else you got?
All right, the final question from Vylon is, will you ban me, please?
Love her. Please don't we love her?
Well, the content of your questions are seriously fucked up, and I wouldn't want to do any of them. I see no grounds to ban you at this time.
Yay!
Please don't give us any. I like it when people don't give us reasons to ban them.
All right, we're going to go to questions now from Sunbro for Life. Number 1, why is Tank the best opening to anything ever?
Because it hits hot, it hits fast, it hits hard. And then it gets chill, and then in comes the jazz. Plus it features a saxophone solo, both throughout pretty much the entire damn thing. And then at the very end, the saxophone fucking ripping it at an octave even I've never been able.
All right. Number 2, what's your favorite video game?
Favorite video game? Let's see. It's more of a flavor of the month type deal. And right now, that would have to be Zelda: A Link to the Past, as some of you who have noticed me streaming from time to time realize that is literally the only thing that I've been streaming.
It's a great game.
It really is.
And I love it.
It's a fantastic game, and there's randomizer logic that scrambles every item location. So it's phenomenal. Each game's a fresh play. You have no idea what you're getting.
Number 3.
Yep.
What is your favorite boss fight?
Favorite boss fight? Oh my. Eeny, meeny, miny, mo. Pick a hooker by her toe. Substitute random words that make no sense. I'm going to have to go with the final boss from Kingdom Hearts.
Actually, that's a pretty good one. I like that one.
Which Kingdom Hearts? The first one?
Whenever I say Kingdom Hearts, I mean the first one, not the second, not the dozen different titled spin-offs.
Yeah,
the very first one with the multi-stage fight that actually has emotional impact.
Yeah, the one where Ansem's a giant battleship.
Yep, that one.
All right, number 4. I need to know for a friend, how long does it take of looking inward to fully know your place in the universe?
Good luck. I certainly haven't found it.
Okay, number 5. Have you accepted Skeletor, the master of the universe, into your heart?
Skeletor. He-Man's where it's at. Get wrecked.
Number 6. Who is the character you hate the most?
Character I hate the most? Oh, gee, oh my. I don't know. As popular as it would be to say Flash Century, I'm going to detour there. I want to say, fuck Discord.
But why, though?
But why? It's not the show. Not his weird breaking of the fourth wall and referencing to the viewers. It's every hack who thinks Discord is their magical cure-all to every problem and Deus Ex Machina that they need for their story.
Yep. Oh, you mean like the Dark Brotherhood?
Thank you for ruining a character for me, fandom.
Whose cat is that?
Mine.
It's adorable. It's a fucking adorable cat's what it is.
Rav, tell your cats that we love them.
Hey, Tinkerbell, they love you.
Yeah.
Right.
All right, next question.
We have a question from Shakespeare, please.
Oh
Thought?
my.
What are your thoughts on My Little Pony Friendship Was Magic by Tiara Y?
Never seen it. I saw the link but never watched it. So I cannot say.
It's a ponyized version of one of the most infamous scenes from Cowboy Bebop. You definitely should check it out.
From Bonafide Cowboy Bebop is fucking heresy. I'm sorry. I like My Little Pony and I love Cowboy Bebop. Bonafide. Okay. Almost got into an accident there. That was fun. Anyway, Bonafide Cowboy Bebop is heresy, burned at the stake, then your ashes dumped in the garbage fire.
All right. Next question.
Bendy.
Next question is from Bendy. Would you be willing to face death by Snoo Snoo by the biggest ponies of Equestria, as in your pelvis breaks during this ordeal?
One moment. I was in a weak area perception. Could you ask one more, please?
Yes. Would you be willing to face death by Snoo Snoo by the biggest ponies of Equestria, as in your pelvis breaks during this ordeal?
Unfortunately, is it macro? Macro is not my fetish. Now, if it were death by Snoo Snoo by regular-sized ponies in Equestria, well, as Futurama has shown us, there are worse prospects.
Next question.
All right. Now we're going to questions from Cyberphase on GOTDM, who says, Oh my god, it's a space cowboy! How do I compete with that? What's next? A giant spaghetti monster going to use his spaghetti tentacles on me? Okay, here's questions for Space Cowboy.
Cthulhu sees your lame attempt and frowns and haunts you with insanity for the rest of your life.
Number one.
Insanity's fun.
Would you do a thing dragoness and alien dragoness, or at least befriend the two girls?
That actually sounds kind of tame. Let's face it, dragonesses are dragons, which by proxy or osmosis are awesome. So hey, fuck it, why not? Literally,
Awesome.
or for friendship.
Number two, would you cuddle with the thing and alien dragoness if they were crying if you were unable to get infected?
Wait a sec, is he referencing something then? I thought he was just saying.
Like alien.
Ew. That changes things immensely. Ew.
And when they say the thing, they mean John Carpenter's The Thing.
It's been too long since The Thing, unfortunately. I can tell you, whenever it comes to Alien, there is one solution and one solution only, and that is the Ridley Scott solution. Kill all, or vent them into space, whichever one works.
There you go. Well, that answers fucking that. Wow.
Yeah, that's a pretty final door being slammed right there, I'm just saying.
That kind of covers 1 through 3. So let's go to number 4. You have a fuck, kill, marry scenario.
Yes, they're all absurd.
Well, not really. So one of them is Eris, which is the Rule 63 of Discord.
Okay.
And then another one is Gleaming Shield.
I'm assuming Rule 63 of Shining Armor.
Yes, but I can't make this shit up. The next one is the Macarena.
Macarena, huh? Well, obviously you fucked the Macarena. Shining Armor, and you kill Eris, because as I said earlier, fuck Discord.
Oh, there you go. It actually was really fair.
Hey, Macarena.
Alright! Number 1. Out of all the electronics and inanimate objects, which 3 items would you either ponify, dragonify, or griffinify?
You mean make inanimate objects take on life?
Yes.
As in, like, Rainbow Dash just fucked everything that exists underneath the sun and is one way or the other?
No, more like how like some people have taken pizza and turned them into ponies, and then you have Pizza Pony, or you have Coke Pony.
Terminator Pony. I'm just saying.
Yeah.
With the Schwarzenegger voice, because why not?
Of course.
If Weird Al can have a pony, hey, I'm just saying. So it's inanimate objects just in general?
In general.
Yeah.
Just
In general.
any inanimate object you'd like to see be made into a pony.
There's no rules.
No rules, huh? You know how sometimes when you think about something, you overthink it? So I'm just going to go ahead and say bicycle pony. There could be a lot of innuendos there if it's a mayor. I'm just saying.
Right.
Town bike.
Stop.
Next question. Next
I
question.
want to ride my bicycle. I want to ride my bike.
Okay, now it's a question. It's a question to Pencil. I know you like Pizza Pony. Cyber knows you like Pizza Pony, so what is your second and third favorite and why?
I also like Coke Pony a lot because pizza and Coke Pony are adorable together. And as far as another inanimate object, Pony, I have the biggest crush on the art Pony from the 4chan draw threads. She's wonderful. Go look her up.
Ooh, 4chan.
Number 3. To everyone who is aware of this, is that pic of Otaku with an ember pillow called a Dakimakura pillow or something like that? If so, would this
Yes,
be
it
good
is.
for Flutter Priest? And then he provides a link to a Cadence Dakimakura.
Don't you own that one already?
Have like the exact one you have that I gave you?
No, it's not, because the one that you sent to me has the mouth open for giving head.
Very specific, that is.
With my gift. Love you.
I love you too.
Are we
You
talking
said it
about
with such
body
enthusiasm.
pillows? Are we talking
Yes.
about body pillows or pillow dolls? I'm just saying.
Body
Body
pillow.
pillows, to be clear. All right, we have 5 more. Can you do it, Priest? Can you do it?
Yes, we can. We
Let's
can do
do it.
this. Now
Cuatro.
we have questions from Uwe Toll, who starts by asking, "Are you one of the rare non-gay cowboys?"
I'm going to go ahead and say yes. Although I could be even more amusing and just leave it up to wonder. Or I could cite Brokeback Mountain as an answer. Take your pick. All 3 have varying levels of interest.
So you let yourself get caught by the hillbillies there in Deliverance, huh?
Oh my god, I need that! Please die!
Number 2, as a cowboy, you do cows and horse?
It's not a cowboy in the serious sense, as I try to put on this fake Texas accent. But
Now you gotta sound more whiny.
I can't sound like a whiny bitch. I'm sorry.
Number 3, have you seen Outlaw Star?
Outlaw Star is also a great anime. It's been so damn long, all I remember about
Hello?
great. And it's in space. A great anime in space.
Dear Princess Celestia.
I highly recommend going back and rewatching it.
Yep, it's on the list along with about a couple hundred different things that I am about 15 years behind on rewatching.
Number 4, did you get a gun at the job?
Technically, the gun I have, yes, I do have one with me, is a Smith & Wesson Sigma series, one of the first ones.
Ooh, nice.
And, yeah, it was actually that specific model of gun is the reason why Glock sued Smith & Wesson. The firearm itself was purchased around the same time I was born, actually, and then sat in a closet for some 20-something years. On a side tangent, since we're talking about firearms for a moment, I recently went on vacation to the Chicago-ish area. I got to fire a P90, an N1 Thompson submachine gun, otherwise known as the Tommy gun, and a Steyr AUG, which I'd never heard of before. Tangent complete.
Cool. Final question, because we've just ran out of time. Are you a minimum wage security firm slave?
Minimum wage? No. Why do you think I'm still working this job? If it was minimum wage, I would be working something else. And slave? No, because as I said earlier in the cast, I am quitting soon. So, fortunately, neither. But
Yay!
Yay!
And that is all the questions that we have, and also all of our time. Space Cowboy, thank you so much for coming on. And now we have completed our collection of story approvers.
Hey, your evil laugh, about a 4 out of 10, maybe a 4.5. You gotta. And hey,
Really?
I say, sometimes you gotta catch them all.
Oh my god. Okay. Read us out, Chris. Read us fucking out. I'm dying. Read us out. Read us out.
Thank you for watching this episode of the Barcast. Be sure to tune in next week when we have a guy. This has been a non-pencil.
All right, thanks, guys.
Enigmatic Otaku. Lila's chapped lips.
Pronounced chat penguin lips.
Milk.
Bye.
Rav.
Fucking Enigma's Patreon, come support mine.
And of course, the wonderful Space Cowboy.
Get wrecked. Quit writing bad stories, please. Dear God, stop.
My name's Flitter Priest, and I think I'm gonna go cry. Bye.
Yay.
I want to collect your
Bye.